So hey folks, it's your old pal King Waspinator. Welcome back to Total Party Skills. We seem to have a little bit of an AI problem on our hands. As some of you may have heard by now, Google Gemini has caused a little bit of controversy because apparently when you enter a prompt into its image generator, it will add words to your prompt without telling you or showing you that it's doing it. Words such as diversity, black, and Southeast Asian. This has caused the rather hilarious kerfuffle of people showing that you go on there to ask for pictures of some, World War II Germans, and it shows you an ethnically diverse collection of Nazis. Or a guy was looking for Roman couples, and they're always mixed race couples, even though they're supposed to be historically accurate to the year 50 BC. A bunch of black gingers on someone who wanted photos of gingers. You can't get a white male pope out of it. Now, these examples might be being blown a little bit out of proportion because, they're just lone examples, but there certainly seems to be a pattern emerging. One of my favorites was the Gemini refusing to do a picture of Batman and Joker as best friends because it was worried that it might be promoting abusive relationships because Batman and Joker are enemies. Ignoring the whole shadow psychology of all this top-down insistence that white supremacy doesn't exist. We've intentionally taught a whole generation of school children to be anti-racist, to fight white supremacy. But you know what that's done? You taught that whole generation of kids that white supremacy is real, even if they're supposed to fight against it. You don't fight against something that's not real. So in order to be able to fight it, you gave it reality. And all this constant insistence to try to force things to be a certain way in terms of how people want to portray things is a little reminiscent of the anti-gay Republican who gets caught in a hotel room with a rent boy and some methamphetamines. If you know what I mean. Ignore all that though, and let's just look at how this tool that's supposed to have been developed for everyone to be able to use and express themselves creatively has been corrupted by people at the top of the pyramid who control what goes into the machine, deciding on everyone else's behalf that they have to behave a certain way. It's not that the AI tool will refuse to tell you or show you something that you ask that goes against its, programmed principles. It'll lecture you a little bit and tell you, its reasons why its philosophy is better than yours. How are we supposed to use this to generate AI movies? How are we going to use this to have artificially intelligent game masters for the VTT? Are these machines going to be able to write quality movie scripts? Of all the things that could have caused the Terminators to come and kill us all, the fact that they've made such a point to their computers that racism is the be-all, end-all of evil, while a large proportion of their user base are constantly trying to get these computers to say things or portray things that go against their programmed restrictions, is not likely to have any good end result. The AI is supposed to be a tool that we're supposed to use, right? Well, when you pick up a hammer, you pick up the hammer because you want to hammer a nail in. The hammer's not supposed to braid your hair instead because it thinks that would be better for you. And it's not supposed to lecture you about what kind of nails you're using. You've picked up the hammer to hammer the nail, and it's on you if you're using it properly or if you're using the right kind of nails. There is no user agency to anyone who uses AI. Already there was kind of quasi-nebulous because of the way it just kind of sources everything simultaneously in order to be able to generate images or text or whatever. But now the fact that it will edit your own prompts to get it to say things to you by adding things that the people who designed it think it needs to be in everything means that whatever it creates off of your prompt isn't what it created off of your prompt. It's not your prompt. It was only 80% your prompt. Up to the point it wanted to have a broad coalition of people that were representative of the average demographics of Los Angeles and San Francisco. Why would movie studios want to make movies using this technology? They're not going to be able to claim ownership over it. And also, racism is not the worst thing in the world. Humans are bigoted creatures, and that's okay. It comes natural to us. It's fine. We're all like that. We've always been like that. and turning this into the ultimate of societal taboos, it detracts from things that are actually way worse. Murder, rape, incest, being driven out of your home. Racism could be a motivating factor behind those sorts of things, but it's not the only possible motivating factor. The act itself is the thing that's evil. The intent behind the act is kind of random, because obviously different sorts of intentions can lead to similar actions. And so parsing between whether or not somebody has hurt somebody because of racism or political bigotry, or because they don't like their hair color, or some other weird internal sociopathic problem that individual has, bears no reflection on the end result. And it's the end result that we should focus on, because the end result is the thing that actually has impact on people's lives. But anything you make with AI was already not yours, but now it's even going to be less yours, because you can't even really say that it's based on your prompt. You added to the prompt, but part of its prompt is pre-written by the powers that be, who know better. All these wannabe hackers who microdose all the time and have these insane ideas about this better future they're going to make with Facebook.
We'll be right back after these messages from our sponsors. Now return to our program in progress.
And all it's really going to do is it's just going to drive people further into looking at older media. Media that's quote-unquote problematic by modern standards, but that is actual product of a human being telling the sorts of stories that people actually want to see and hear. John Carter of Mars and Solomon Kane should not be having comebacks right now, here in the early 21st century. And yet they are, because they're the only options that have been left on the table that aren't shitty fucking Marvel movies and other properties that are being corrupted off this insistence that they're going to force this new reality, that they're going to reprogram people just by showing them enough images on their television or film screen that eventually it'll get something to click. Like I said, what'll happen is that people will subconsciously pick up on the shadow psychology of what's going on. Even if people don't consciously recognize that they're being lied to or deceived, somewhere in their brain they do. And because they aren't offered with good explanations, and because people aren't really allowed to talk about what is going on in any sort of practical, calm way, you're left with people falling off into these weird, convoluted, strange rabbit holes of conspiracy. Conspiracies are real. But if there's not a money motivation behind the conspiracy, I'm not very likely to believe it. Conspiracies that are just based off of some mustache twirling, I'm going to do evil and kill the world, like a James Bond villain, I'm not that likely to believe in, at least up until the point where you start seeing more footage of who Klaus Schwab is. But conspiracies don't need to hide themselves. They're pretty much in the open for everyone to see. They don't involve lizard people from Mars. But since no one in the mainstream ever engages with the reality of what's being done to manipulate everyone, people are left with having to just kind of make up whatever cockamamie thing happens to come to their mind that they can explain this pattern that they're seeing that's clearly there, but is missing pieces and stuff parts of it are obscured or being distorted, or you're just being told that you're not seeing that right. Well, that's not green, that's actually blue. Kind of shit that's going on. It's not sustainable. And, the audience, the grand audience, already apparently has kind of gotten tired of what Hollywood has been doing. I don't know if AI is going to be able to last as long with this diversity push before its audience collapses, because people are already fed up with it. It's just making everything worse. A decade of hand-wringing about who's getting awards and whether or not we're having enough representation of X in every random Marvel movie has not made people better, has not made people more accepting, has not dialed down the racism at all. Telling all the kids that they're white supremacists so that they can fight white supremacy hasn't worked either. So, I don't know. Reap what you sow, I guess. Until next time. I'm King Waspinator, and I approve this message.
First of all, what went through my mind is how stupid am I to actually volunteer for this. It was unbelievably painful.